This is Bogart Man Radio.
One of the greatest gentlemen was actually under his tutelage at Toronto Pirates for 2.5 seasons. A very emotional show for me as well, because I arrived at the club a boy and I left a very, very much matured human being, and the life skills that this gentleman has taught us at Toronto Pirates is second to none. And I'm speaking about a man that has done so much in regards to football, not just in South Africa but in international football as well. Born in Lima, Peru in 1951, December the 23rd. Played as a midfielder, played as a striker as well. 58 years being involved in football. Played in Costa Rica, Hong Kong, Venezuela, Germany, Finland, as well as South Africa. And some of the awards are just scary. It's a long list. I've just selected a couple of them. Top goal scorer in Peru, best foreign player in Peru, best player in Finland, Toronto Pirates' most dedicated technical director, chairman's award for long service at the club, KFA license with SAFA, has coached at Morocco Swallows, at Kaizer Chiefs, and of course his beloved Toronto Pirates Football Club, and has produced an awful lot of top players at Toronto Pirates over the recent era. And I think I'll also be asking him about a certain player that he produced, a player that we so much love and loved. Unfortunately lost his life a couple of years ago. I am going to be speaking about him, possibly one of the best players Toronto Pirates has ever produced, and that is under his guidance, under his tutelage. I'm speaking about none other than the professor, Coach Augusto Palacious.
How are you, Carao, and the listener? It's very honor for me and pleasure to be here in your program, and surprised exactly what you say. When you had 12 years, you was enjoy Pirates in Mayfair, by Coach Bacos Mandela, and this time Pirates had a very, very strong, stage of development from early age. And this is the reason why my honor when you contact me and the objective of what you program, and then I say welcome, I become present in my life football. Not only myself, my family also. We football people or sport people, and happy to be with you today. Very, very honored and very happy. And also to see you personally again.
Absolutely. Now I'm being told that, can you please come closer to the mic? I think the listeners, I think that's better. Maybe should I adjust it for you? I think that's better. Coach, I think I'm going to be focusing more on your journey in South Africa, the players that you've produced. But just before we start, the professor, just tell us about the upbringing that you had when growing up. What type of a kid was Augusto Palacious? I understand I had a short story outside, but just tell us, what type of a person was Augusto Palacious when growing up?
I think I born with a sport family. My father Celso was play also football. My mother Carmen was also athletic, and we start from my other brothers, Alejandro, Celso, and then Luis Alberto, Guillermo, David, y Carmen, mi hermana, all of sport. My brother Guillermo played in the national team 1967 for Peru, and the South America Cup under 18, and I was the next one who played also after him. And my father was the person who you choose, study or football. If you choose both, then you know what is the sacrifice. And obviously I finished my high school. This is when I say my 1970 for me was one of the best years in all my life when I was young, because I was the best player in a school tournament, because in Peru is national the competition of school. And then I was a champion the second division, you can say national third division. I was the top goal scorer national third division, and I was nominated the best player, the best young player in Peru in 1970 with the journalists and TV sport. This year was, and also the same year I meet my wife Zoila, who is my only girlfriend who I have. We married for 7 years and 5 years together. We almost 52 years together. And then, obviously, when I signed my first professional contract, who my brother was representing me, it was an indication that I must continue study. This was, and then I did to follow public relation and business administration. And then this is what helping me now in administration, what I did in football, but I think my life was the person who coming from poor family, but my six brother and my sister is up because all professional, and this is one role model for my parents because discipline coming from home, and this is the reason in this moment my children, Gabriela, who is a lawyer, and my son who is the marketing. We have beautiful grandchildren, Santiago, Mariela, Alessandro, and Adriano, and Gare, and Terre, in South Africa, and we create a family. This is what we create with some of the family here, my nephews, and my son-in-law, Ricardo and Jonathan is in South Africa. But this country gave to me the great opportunity, and the beautiful country who had a passion for football. But my life was almost about football. And I also play basketball in national team, but my life was always football, and football with discipline. When I mentioned to you before, during my period in high school, I never had a girlfriend, or I drinking, or smoking. It was home, school, and school football. This was because in South America, it's very difficult you to arrive to the first team. I mean, you need to work very, 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 very hard.
And something that you mentioned that is very, very interesting is that the situation of your wife being the first girlfriend and you married. How important was it for you, coach, to be such disciplined and have one girlfriend and that girlfriend turn into your wife?
I think the support, from her, it was not easy to have her. It was a person who principles, and then obvious when you marry and you have children, I mean the responsibility coming double. And I remember when we married in 1975, in 4th of April, 1975, and then my firstborn, Gabriela, he born on the 28th of December 1975. I was playing. I was playing. One of my relatives in the halftime said to me, your wife take it to the hospital for the baby. and then when finished the game, I rushed, because I living with my mother, and I was thinking it was a joke because the day was not exactly.
Yeah.
And then I went to the hospital. I born my first, born Gabriela, and it's so emotional. It means your responsibility is no more now only your wife. Now you had a child, and apart from there you had your parents, and you had the support of your family. I think the support of my wife was one of the key, because we need to look now for Gabriela, and then we understand now with our inexperience what it's about to have a child, both of us, and we growing until today. She is a very hard work person, very honest and loyalty, and very dedicated and love to the family. This was, I think I was lucky, to meet her and then to marry her.
I'm just going to fast forward to your career now because in South Africa, I need to focus more on your career in South Africa. But I understand you played, football in South Africa. But how did you get to South Africa? How did that start that you come to South Africa? I understand you started playing, but how did that move come about? Who called you? How did the call come about for you to come and play in South Africa and then coach in South Africa?
It was a player, the name Marcelo Houseman, who came into Costa Rica. I was playing in Costa Rica 1979, 80, when I nominated the best player in the season. And then he came for trials for the club who call him Sport Cartaginés in the city of Cartago, 44 kilometers from the capital of Costa Rica, San Jose. And he came in there, but he not made the trial, and we made some relationship with him.
Okay.
And he asked me, for my CV, that he made the CV. And then what happened accidental, we went to play together to Hong Kong. And then from there we went to Finland also.
Yeah.
And then in one stage, my mother received a call, but it was in English, and we don't understand.
Yeah.
And then after he need to phone, he said to me, in sympathize, he said, negro is black.
Yeah.
Understand? He said
Yeah.
to me, in the exhibition game, in the club holding Whitban, Black Aces in Whitban, and he want you to have him, I show you CV, the World Cup, everything, and he want to come in to play you 2 games for the exhibition game. And then in this time, I was finishing my contract, you know, and then I say, in Australia, I was finishing my contract, I said, okay, send me the ticket, is the truth. And then he sent me the ticket. And I come in here, what I observe in the airport, what I say in previous program, I see white people in the counting, in black people to clean the floor, etc., etc. It was very strange for me, but I read a little bit about South African apartheid.
Mm.
And then I come in direct to Whitban. You know, I have Mr. Henry Moslongo, the General Secretary in Whitban, very good relationship with him and his family.
Mm.
And then Junior Ngove,
Yeah.
the father.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Mark will die, Mr. Ronnie Payadache will die. And then I went there. I went to Whitban, my first time. And then I started the journey, the journey in Whitban. I play against Cosmo, I play 2 games. And during this process, 2 games, during the day, people not training. And I only find out that it was working. Some people mechanics, some people the plumbers, some people, we only training at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
But during the day, I buy 2 soccer balls in Limby Stadium, I training in the morning. And people start checking me what I doing in the aerobic aspect, the exercise aspect. And then this is the time who I come here to Whitban Black Aces. Love people,
Yep.
I never forget Whitban. He treat my family, myself very well. And this is the time who I come into South Africa.
And goodness, you were training twice on yourself or alone. Why was that, coach? What was it? The passion? Was it because you wanted to be much better? Why did you train alone?
Because I used, during the time I was active player, so training in the morning, in the afternoon, meaning the calendar and the week. You play a Saturday, you recover on Sunday, but Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday you train twice. And then on Thursday you reduce the loading, Friday again you reduce the loading, and then Saturday you play. The thing is, in the time because you need to correct what the coach say, or if the coach not say, you must correct what is your weakness because you have mistake you need to correct. And the reason in the morning around 1 hour and a half, I put some markers, I do drills, and then I put some rope in the soccer post I tie, and I kick the post, the rope,
Yeah.
way to practice. And the other reason is I can't sit at home to waiting in 6 o'clock. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
The club that you love, Orlando Pirates Football Club. This is now fast forwarding from your footballing career, but then to your Pirates. I understand you coached different clubs, but I want us to talk about Pirates in depth. For you to join Orlando Pirates, firstly as a coach, was it the chairman, Dr. Ivan Kosa, who called you? Where were you? How did you take the call? Were you happy? Were you excited? Just tell us about your journey starting to work for Orlando Pirates.
In one stage, I received a call with somebody who said the chairman of the Cosa want to see me in the proof in Soweto. I don't know the proof in Soweto. This person guided me to his house in the proof, and he talked to me. And then he said to me, I want you to come into Pirate. But at this time, it was with Swallows. And then, obviously, I need to quit Swallows to come into Pirates. And then when I see him and then the passion, the football he have, he said to me, one word who I listen very few chairmen is about development aspect, the players. And I took over, but it was the incident in Palm Brink Stadium when we lost against Hellenic. It was the incident about Stile Colea who was in the bench. And this time the chairman said to me, Augusto, I want you to focus on full development. And then this is the way I started the development. And then it was no development in Pirates. In 1996, it was nothing. And then from there I start. But what I told him is, before we start, let me to go to the old township in Johannesburg, from Benoni, Spring, Fossora, because I want to see the people who play no in grass, in dust. And then when also in no soccer post is a stone.
Yeah.
And sometimes no soccer wood without nothing.
Yeah.
And then I went to Soweto majority the places to see what is the really characteristic of players we have from Chai. And I see a lot of skill, but not doing in the correct way.
Yeah.
A lot of calling chihuahua, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Then after this 6 months, who I analyzed and study, I went to him and I said, first thing, let's to find the ground where we go to training. And always I try to find, and then we go to Lanlastes, and we move to Lanlastes to Soweto, and then in the power in Soweto opposite to UJ University. And then from there I find with one police supporter Orlando Pirates, he showed me the facility, the Mayfair. And I went to the chamber, they listen. And the chamber want to buy, but unfortunately the police cannot buy. And then we rent it. And I say, but we cannot have only players from Soweto. We need to have players from different places. And then the first trials in Mayfair, we had 12,000 players who come into Saturday and Sunday, 12,000 coming from different areas in South Africa. And we started scouting. But what happened is where want to stay these players? Where want to stay? And then the chairman, slowly we start friends with local players. We traveling.
Yes. Yes.
You know, this is the reason when we have Jose Magana, Leboham Mukwena, you was there also, and then Benny Vilacasi, Gileremi, you know, Luke and Taban Steyman, you know, we had also Kelebo Hilemabe,
yeah.
And we had a lot of good players, you know, a lot of good players. And then in town, in Carlton Center, it was the hotel who call it Wise Hotel.
Yeah.
And the chairman allocate these players there. They allocate these players. And then until he brought the house in Mayfair, we call it the Club House, and the flat also in the road Cherry Street, when we had total of 234 players from under 12 to under 70. This is what in this moment I don't think any club in South Africa it can happen. What is the interest is when we were the final the championship in Ivory Coast, the chairman invited me to go with him to look the facility the Ase Mimosa, and I went to see the facility Ase Mimosa. Simple, nothing you can say expensive, simple aspect. But I was talking to the technical director who was from Argentina, and I start looking the what is about African football, West African football, no? And then there we start our journey to have what we have.
Yeah.
When in 2000, 1999, 2001, 2002, we are the only club, I can say, in the world who has 7 players for the development playing in the derby, in the first 11, who was Stema Radebe, the goalkeeper, he was Kelebohile Mabe in the right, he was Benny Vilacasi in the midfield,
Yep.
he was Leboham Mukwena in the left, Jose Macani in the right, Pomoso Manense the striker, and Gile Remedy behind. And then, obvious, before this one, you know, Guilherme had his first game, but this is the issue to us, you know, because Orlando Pirates, the criteria, development is until 17 years.
Yeah.
This is what Pirates had. Pirates never had 18 years, 19 years in development.
Yeah.
And this is the reason that all our play was a promotion very early. Leboham Mukwena 15 years,
Yeah.
Joseph 16 years, now Joseph Macania now is the coach of the MTC.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for him, very proud what he's doing, and the opportunity also Pirates, the chairman, and in Kosana to give to him the opportunity in Pumi, both who run in the club now,
Yeah.
and the son of the chairman. But what I say is, for me, I know again any coach or any club, but for me the stage of development finished 17 years old. After this, for me, it's not young players. And it's the reason the Pirates had this record.
Absolutely.
And this record we must follow why he did Allen Ferguson also in Manchester United. I mean, we don't copy, but we had the talents. And I always say, this beautiful country with 55 million, we have the talents. But you need to be patient, but you need to work.
Absolutely. I am in conversation with Augusto Palacious, the professor, as you guys would know him. I mean, what he's done, what it's achieved in South African football international as well is second to none. We are going to take a short break. We come back, we continue, and I just want him to repeat what he said in regards to the age that Orlando Pirates ended in regards to development. Such an interesting stat. That's why Orlando Pirates 99-2000 had 7 players from the academy playing in the first team. I think that's possibly the record that one of the biggest clubs on the African continent still has, Orlando Pirates. But we are going to take a short break. We come back, we continue with this conversation. A man that has really done a lot for Orlando Pirates, for South African football as well. Also, we are going to be speaking about his football academy that is running and producing top talent. We're back after this. Alright, welcome back to the Big Chat with myself, SK Pasha. 25 minutes before 2 o'clock, the 19th of April 2023. We've got the professor in studio. He's spoken about a beautiful record in regards to Orlando Pirates, and I just want him to repeat that stat because it's quite interesting. 99-2000, 7 players in the first team, very young age. Can you just take us through once again the name of those players, coach?
Estaban Stoiman Radev in the goal, Kelebo Hile Mabe in the right, Benedi Vilacasi in the central midfield, Lebo Hamukwena in the left, Joseph Macanya in the right, Gile Remy behind Pomoso Manense. And obviously before this was died Leslie Manentela, but this was the 7. And in the bench we still had 2 players more, who was Senso Moiva, in excellent Wallace. The mean is we had normally a young player who always passion to play, but it was faces. It's not mean that we development in the time that we want, no, we develop when the player is ready. But also we must give the opportunity when it's ready. We cannot play 5 minutes and then go out.
Coach, when you started this academy of Orlando Pirates, or maybe now with your own football academy, maybe just take me through when you scout for a player. What is it that you look for in a player? What is it that tells you that this player will be a good player?
Intelligent. It must be intelligent. The way he pass, the way he move, the way he cover his position, the way he fight. You need to be the fighter. And the reason is when you scout player, also you scout according to position of player. And the reason all this play, I remember in the time when say Benny Vilacasi very short, but looking the way he jumped. And looking Joseph Macanya short, but the speed he have, the skill. I mean, the highest no interest depend in which position he play. Joe Moeti was shorter. I mean, the later, I mean, but we scout intelligent players and the hungry to success. We create this hungry in Orlando Pirates. You want no money, absolute no money. No, and we try to give the soccer boot to the player, the kid. We start the kid for training, you know, and the time management. No, and this is the reason is football is not only to kick the ball, is to also to teach the life. What is the life aspect? And this is something, you know, it's very interesting because people don't believe why I in the country who speak English, no? And different tribes, no? But I must say good to God that my children here study the English. And remember, when I come in here first time in 85, I left because of a lot of issues, you know, the apartheid, etc. And when we come by 89, we find a school for my children. I mean, my children assist me. My daughter Gabriela assist me in my report when I did to Casa Chief or Bafana, Sandown. She was helping me to translate from Spanish to English. Obviously, after my son Augusto the same. My son Augusto was sitting with me in the bench because this time it was not too much rules. But I mean, the family for me, it was the key component that we stay here in South Africa 40 years. No, my wife, sometimes people, when people see us in the stadium, say, why are your family coming all the way to the stadium? They say to me, because it's my family. It's my family. And the other reason is, one of the key for me when I play overseas was my family present in the game. Because I don't want the people to woo at me if I play bad. I mean, the family was the key to be there. And then I must say thank you to God and give me the great children, you know, great wife, a very united family.
Coach, another aspect in regards to your career here in South Africa. Let's speak about the coaches. How important is coaching, and how do coaches should coach these young players? Because obviously there's been a lot of questions in regard to coaching badges, this and that. But for you, when you look at coaches, what is it that you look at in regards to them being able to coach the young players?
First is the passion. You need to have the passion what he doing. And the two, the commitment and responsibility. You cannot have coaches who arrive late for training. You cannot have coaches who arrive the same time with the player. You cannot have coaches who try to organize his training session when the player is there. The personality, the dress code of the coach. Listen, you can study, it's not a problem. You can study in South Africa with SAFA or overseas. I finished myself my pro license 2 years ago. And even age is not about football. Look at Hobson in Crystal Palace, 76 years, and continue coach. People are wrong when you say, you see 3 years must retire. I say, why? Why? Because the more years you have, the more you experience have. But it's difficult to coach development. It's not easy. When you coach player from 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, you need to have a lot of patience and a lot of character, to understand. You might remember we had in South Africa white, India, black, color. But you need to understand what is his culture. You understand the way training the players. It's not only to accept the coach, it's to accept the general aspect, the behavior of the coach. And remember, some of the parents think his son is a superstar, but when you see in the field, it's nothing. And the reason we need to understand principles. You need to keep it. You can't intimidate to, you can say to give to you the lineup, or say to you play this player, or I give you money to play this player. You need to have principles, and it's important. The reason in my 27 years in Pirates, I never had any single incident with the chairman Dr. Cosa, because I understand him, he understands me. Obviously, sometimes he say to me, I stubborn, I understand, but the relationship he was over there with respect. And why he important for him, he say, who is still not happy, I want the first 11 for Pirates to come from the development. We arrived to 70% to have 7 players, but I still believe Pirates had the great spirit and the great commitment to continue development. It's a lot of competition now. Chief also had development, Super Sports, Sundown, everyone had development. But you need to worry, what is your development? What are you doing? It's more important, because you will save money to buy players, but this is the criteria and they believe the every club.
Coach, I think we should have the second part of this interview, because I'm learning quite a lot from you. Of course, at that time I was still young, couldn't understand. I was just speaking about tactics, when I was a boy. But I wanted to speak about a certain player you scouted, and for me, possibly one of the best players that Orlando Pirates has ever promoted. I'm speaking about Gifted Remy. Coach, just what made you to bring Gifted Remy to Pirates? What is it that you saw in him? Just take me through your memories and how you brought Gifted Remy to Orlando Pirates Football Club.
Gifted Remy coming for trials, and about his power and his body aspect and shooting with the left and the right was fantastic. One thing the player need to cover for Gifted Remy, this boy, I understand, no went to school to finish high school, but football for him was the all day. When in the development we training in the afternoon, he training alone in Soweto. Now when he arrived to the first team, I never know the opposite of Southgate, it was the gym, and he was training in the morning there. And when we training in the afternoon, vice versa. He was a player who dedicated 24 hours. He the player can mobile to the left, to the right, he can shooting, he had a physical ability. And I always say, no one can say to me here that somebody compared to Gifted Remy. If somebody say like this, they may need to watch him work with Gifted Remy. I don't think in this moment, not to offend any player in South Africa, is not Gifted Remy in the moment here, because Gifted Remy was the complete players. The complete player, he was arrogant. He was not scared to anyone. Unfortunately, he had the wrong companies, you know, who player need to be careful about this. But this is the player who really we miss. This is the player, and the history comes simple because I say coach no believe in young player. Roy Barreto arrived to Orlando Pirates, and then we signed Guilherme. He says he's too young. Lucky, the work permit the Roy no arrive, and then the chairman asked me to coach the team with Harry Shue, the assistant coach. But I was not sitting on the bench. I was coaching from behind the seat. And then I said to the chairman, raise the gift. And Guilherme, first game of the season, top 8, ran stadium against Morocco Swallows. He played in the left, scored 2 goals, and created 2 goals for Lely Magnetella. From this time, Guilherme never, ever in the bench. The thing is, we need to understand the coach from the development and the coach or the head coach from the first team, the communication and the relationship, it need to be 100%. 2, you know when you promote this play because it's faces. You have a junior, you go to the reserve, and you fight to the first team. The other reason is the player need to be ready, 100%. And the coach also, or the technical team of the first team, he need to watch in the junior game. Now we have the MDC. He must watch, and he must also make his recommendation. The relationship between the technical team, the junior, and the first team is not 100%, and then it's going to be difficult. Going to be difficult. This is the reason in the time when I was in Pirates, I was the technical director, and it was Costa Papi, it was Gordo Higginson, you know, it was several coaches, but the relationship was fantastic. And this is the reason for me, Guilherme is one of the best players who South Africa had.
Now, for you, Coach, when you, I mean, Orlando Pirates, once again, what does it mean for you to be part and parcel or have been part of Orlando Pirates? What does Pirates mean to you personally?
Home. It was a family, 27 years. Remember when I arrived to Pirates, it was no development. Remember we had a sponsor, but we was no complete the dress to training, the dress to traveling, the dress, all these things. But you must not forget also when I had the Orlando Pirates was the late Soto Acosta. He was a passion about football. He was the lady who committed 24 hours. You know, he fly with that in the championship to Seychelles, to Zimbabwe, etc., etc. I mean, he was really the leadership, you know, behind the chairman. And then when you have these people who support, you know, support the football, and the reason the development in Orlando Pirates was people kept talking about 1, 2, 3. But one important thing is we always watching quality players. And the reason, and it's important to touch me, one point very important, when people talking about cheating on the age, he need to understand the players coming with his birth certificate. The player, we don't make the birth certificate. And the birth certificate is no photo. I mean, that any player he can come in, but now it's different because Safa created a system who call it my Safa. You can't cheat in there. The reason we want to put clear that every player who play in Pirates will receive his documentation from his guardian or parents. And this is what we're doing.
Your own football academy, Augusto Palacious Developmental Academy, when you created this academy, what was this about? What is it that you wanted to achieve? Of course, you've produced a lot of players, but coming from you personally, why did you create the Augusto Palacious Football Academy?
I think it was in 25 when in the office of Orlando Pirates, Soto Acosta, he called me to say, Coach, why you not create the academy and you name, you know, you do development, and also we have the opportunity to display it, to play for Pirates, you know, and then because we don't have at the 5 and the 6, etc. And then the intention was to create, obvious, to bring the player for Pirates, who the last year I killed almost 32 players to Orlando Pirates from Augusto Palacios Apprentice Academy. And what is the reason I put apprentice? Because it's to learn the basic. We know the academy who say play football 11 and 11, no? We need to teach the basic, and the basic first thing is about the technical aspect. If we know developing the player in the technical aspect, he cannot play football. In the game, you receive it, you pass it, you head it, you move it. Now you need to apprentice, you need to base it. And this is our focus, and this is when players like Lai Foster, Taviso Munjane, Copano, the goalkeeper,
Yes.
and the twin, Bopela is Simiso, and the Mofonken, and General, Letao, with too many players, that we believe he had the option. But remember, end the day, the academy is to learn the basic of football. Because I believe when you arrive to 17 years, you develop in bye-bye. You cannot.
Yeah.
Yes, the next coach who you go in 80, 90, he must continue the process. But it's difficult because you focus on the game. You don't focus on development. The mean Augusto Palacious Apprentice Academy who moving now to Johannesburg Secondary School in Mayfield, 5 below when we had before, is the basic academy who development player from 5 years until 80, 90, 20 years. No, and my family is involved. No, my daughter who is in the legal aspect, she's the lawyer. My son is a coordinator and supervise. My wife is in the accounting aspect. She working there. And then we have my son-in-law Ricardo, etc. And everyone is welcome to register in the academy. You know, you can call to 082 977 335 or 0798211 to Ricardo. We give them more information. Or you can email me, to Apprentice Academy at enwe.co.za. We have also the Facebook and Instagram. And the only say we can say is we promise to development players.
Yeah.
We're not lying to people.
Yeah.
And we try to be development the best player. No, we appreciate also Johannesburg Secondary School who are assisting us in the field, and we do all the maintaining, etc. Relationship we will have, And this is what we try to copy always. Because remember, when the player have 15, 16, 17 years, crucial age, we must prepare the boy to go to the first team. It's not time to say he's too young. And this is my belief.
Yeah. Can you just repeat those numbers where people can get in contact with your football academy?
082 97 77 335 or 079 82 11 900. You must call Ricardo.
Yeah. Coach, now back to you. When everything is said and done, when you've retired in maybe 10, 15 years, I'm not going to ask you when. What is your legacy, Coach? What is when you possibly sitting at home in Johannesburg or out in Peru and you'd like to say, this is what I'd like to be remembered for?
I think my passion for football, to developing a lot of players who believe in himself, and the parents and the guardian to support the children. No, not the parent who go to the party and leave the children in the ground. In the meantime, he entertain them. I like the parent to support. And the legacy, not to South Africa to give the opportunity to be South African citizen, to die here, and to have my beautiful family. My children is married with South Africa, who is Sterling and Garrett, and to have children, my grandchildren who is South Africa, in the meantime, Peruvian. But my more legacy is about football. To create the more I'm very happy when I talking to Lai Foster, who is in England. And this is myself. I always tell the player, try local, but try overseas. You can do it. And I believe this is one of my blessing to every player who have the talent or not have the talent. I can do myself the best to do it. The same with coaches. That was I grow in him. Tebo Gomoloy, who I took the opportunity also to go to Colombia to play. Junior Bengo, Mandla, Simon. It's a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches. Now, the coach in my academy now, who I have, in the moment, all coming from Soweto Township and from Davidton. And then I grow in the coaches, because it's important to grow in also coaches who coach the children. It's the more important for me.
Absolutely. Coach, a couple of questions from our social media. I am going to ask you this. The first question is, for you, who is the best player that you think has come out of the Orlando Pirates Academy for you?
I It's very difficult to offense, but I believe the group of players who lifting the development aspect. And I mentioned to you very clear, it was for Taban Radebe, the goalkeeper, Bede Vilacasi, Jose Macaña, Killer Emil, Levo Jamocuena, Pomoso Manense, and Lely Mañantela. After coming Lucas Tuala, is coming excellent, Troce Jolea. I mean, it's not good to say who the best. For me, all were the best.
Yeah.
All were the best because when he played for Orlando Pirates, I played with a heart. And we had this intention always. And this is for me, was an honor and pleasure, to all my life to work in Orlando Pirates. And then my development is my passion. In any player, keeping communication with Tebo, Doctor, Jose, Macaña, etc., etc. But I'm a coach of principle, but my passion is about football.
Coach, another question. Will we ever see you again coaching in the DSTV Premiership?
Nothing wrong. I never say I retire in football. You look in Hobson in Crystal Palace, 70 years.
Yeah.
And then, the opportunity coming for me to coach a PSL club or go to the position, or go back to Pirates, or go to the position of the technical director, I'm ready. My academy is part of my life, but the opportunity, I'm ready anytime. I don't retire in football.
For you, once again, a question arises. Which is the most important position for you as a coach inside the field?
One of the positions who for me is very crucial is when I call it the defense midfield. Because he is the libero in front of the defense and behind the attackers. It means if you're talking about Andile Jale,
Yeah.
you talk about Opa Maisa,
Yeah.
you're looking about the later, the John Moeti,
Yeah.
you're talking about Willie Tomanjati, maybe you don't know him,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Chief 1990. You're talking about too many players. For me, one of the key positions in football for me is the defense midfield. Is the person who start the creativity of football, the distribution of the ball, the guiding of the team. Is the first who need to marking when we lost the ball. And this is one of the key positions for me in football.
I think this might be an emotional one for you, but a question comes in regards to another son of yours. I'll say he's a son because we are all your sons at Pirates. The late Senzo Maiua. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this beautiful player that you also played a role in regards to playing for Pirates and also the national team?
Senzo Maiua arrived in the age of 14 years from Natal, and this is when the time he arrived to Orlando Pirates. And then his flexibility, his passion about football, he liked to training every time, every day. He had some time take the ball from the clubhouse and move into Mayfair to play the ball in the ground. And then in one stage, Tebogo Moloy coming with Costa Papi to Mayfair to watching him in Mafia with the permission of the chairman and so cosa. And automatically when Papi saw him in Tebogo, he took for the first team. And then obviously he took time to play in the first team, but he played competition with Pune in Mafana.
Yeah.
And he was one of the players. Remember when he got Jose Moiva, he was compete with him. And then in 2012 when we win the league. And then very special, humble person, like to work, respect people, and his family also. His family from Natal, who I know very well. It was very commitment to him, but great person, great character, great leader, great player. We miss the player who was growing very quick and he left too early.
Lastly, your relationship and maybe your word of thanks to the chairman of the club, Dr. Ivan Khosa. The man that has done so much for South African football, particularly for the PSL. Your relationship with him and your words to him.
No, the relationship always great until now. He's a very busy person, very strict person. He always say to you, not coming with the problem, solve the problem. And this is one of the key to him. And you see what's Orlando Pirates now from 1995, who took the club to now, and look at what's PSL now. No, we not say it's only alone. He had a committee in the PSL, but thank you to him for the opportunity to me to